What is up, guys? Name is Dre and welcome to another Honkai tutorial video. Now, in today's video, we are all doing a little bit of a discussion between the new king and queen Jing LIU and Danheng IMBIBITOR LUNAE. Yeah, we're basically talking about who I do think is the better unit. But before we hop into the topic of today's video, I just want to point you guys again to my YouTube short section, which is the content where I'm currently mainly focusing on. I'm putting out a video there every day. And yeah, as well as advertising my new Discord server that I just opened. Shout out to Yolo Digacho for helping me out with setting up the Discord server. It is free to join for everyone. The link is in the description of every video. The server is currently still in the making, but it is already available for everyone. Yeah, with that out of the way, if you made it until here, this is the official giveaway announcement. So I said that I will sneak a giveaway in one of my videos coming out this week, and now it is time. I will give away one more express supply pass to any viewer. All you have to do is to be subscribed to the channel, join the Discord server where the link is in the description down below, and comment down below who you do think is stronger, Jing LIU or IMBIBITOR LUNAE. All right, so just to summarize it again, if you make it until here, you have the chance to win one more express supply pass from my 1000 subscriber giveaway special. All you have to do is be subscribed to the channel, join the Discord server where the link is in the description down below, and comment down under this video if you do like Jing LIU or Danheng IMBIBITOR LUNAE better as the stronger unit. Yes. Okay, now let's get into the topic of the video. I already just put out a tier list video a couple of days ago from the tier list from Pridewin.gg. Shoutouts to them. I always use their site if I want to get any official information. They only work with official informations, and I think that the site is very incredible. Also, the link for the website is also in every video in the description down below. And I already did state here, currently, these are the two DPS kings. So we're not talking about general units. We're just talking about best DPS unit in the game. And I think it is fair to say, and everyone should agree, that IMBIBITOR LUNAE and Jing LIU are number 1 and 2 for DPS right now. It is not. It is just not officially spoken who is number 1, who is number 2. But yeah, in this video, I will say my personal opinion. It is really my subjective opinion why I do think the unit is better. If you disagree, of course, you have the right to disagree. You can have your own opinion. I don't have to be right, but this is just my opinion. And yeah, I want to share it with you. Yeah, so basically for every category that is available on the tier list, single target, blast damage, AoE, they're always on the top, right? So they're by no question in all categories. They're insanely good and they're always on the top. But what is the real difference between those two? I talked about IMBIBITOR LUNAE when he came out. I was that close to pull for the unit. But at the end, why I didn't pull for the unit was the weapon, because I didn't have enough for the weapon. And here is what we're talking about, why I didn't end up pulling for the unit. So I don't know. I don't want to go like over the skills particularly, because I think that most of the people know what they're doing. You do. I mean, people should know that IMBIBITOR LUNAE want to press 3 times E, or to use his E 3 times and then do an enhanced auto attack. And this is basically his damage. And for Jing LIU, just as a short explanation, you want to get the syzygy stacks. You can get these ones by using the technique. It gets 1 stack, and using the E or the ultimate will also give you a stack. And as you're reaching 2 stacks, you will get in this spectral transmigration state, where all your abilities basically deal more damage and you're only able to use 1 ability. So I think from playstyle perspective, both of these units are very simple. You just want to reach the 2 stacks, which you automatically do just by using your E and your ultimate. Doesn't require you any skill or any thinking. You just have to do it. You just play the unit and you automatically get into the state where the unit gets OP. And even in that state, there's no other option than that one attack. And for IMBIBITOR LUNAE, I mean, you just have to know that the more often you press his E, the more damage he will deal. And that's like basically the point for these two units, just to explain them in a nutshell. And yeah, what I did end up, why I did end up not summoning for the unit was basically this reason. His ultimate is your Aqua Abludes all, does cost 140 energy. Now let's see for Jing Liu. Jing Liu's ultimate, where is it? Ultimate also does cost 140 energy. But the difference between Jing Liu and IMBIBITOR LUNAE is that Jing Liu is able to get the syzygy stacks with also her E and her technique. So, or basically everything that Jing Liu does get her a stack of 1 syzygy. Okay, except for basic skill, but using her technique, using her skill, and using her ultimate will grant you 1 stack of syzygy. While for IMBIBITOR LUNAE, the big difference why I wanted to like his ultimate, even though it is not his main damage source, is that it gains 2 Squama Sectral Sancta. If you don't know what this is, basically IMBIBITOR LUNAE has a mechanic where he can give himself additional skill points that only he can use in the team. So yeah, let's talk like about the IMBIBITOR LUNAE. That's why I want to talk about IMBIBITOR LUNAE now first, because I noticed that I just started to mix a little bit too much between the units. The main problem, yeah, was 140 energy. Back in the day, when Jing Liu didn't release, there is not a single unit in the game that does have a 140 energy cost ultimate. And if you have a normal ultimate, I think it's like 120 energy cost, you will take a free cycle rotation to get back your ultimate if you don't have any energy regains in your kit involved. So that means if you don't use a energy regeneration rope or a 2-piece set that increases energy regeneration rate, or like any light cones or something that gives back energy, a normal cycle will take a normal 3 cycle will give you your ultimate back, just on average, like using skills, ultimates, basic attacks, getting hit. Like on average, it will take 3 turns to get back your ultimate. But now increasing that energy cost to 140 will take you now 4 cycles to get back. That's 1 cycle more, and that is very, very important. And that was one thing that basically triggers me in the end why I didn't want to pull for the unit. And the problem that I overall had with the unit is that the unit was very skill point hungry. Every turn you want to use free skill points to maximize his damage, right? What is the point in using 2 skill points or 1 skill point? The only point is you would use it if you only have 1 or 2 skill points. But you always want to use all the free skill points to maximize his damage to get into this. You want to do the 7-hit with 250% multiplier to a single enemy, and from the 4th hit, you will do 90% to the adjacent targets. And that's what you basically want to do every turn. And now, what basically, just by doing this, what does it cost you? You have to pair him with units that are skill point positive, units that basically don't eat up skill points, so that the skill points are left for IMBIBITOR LUNAE. So you want to use units like Tingyun, Pella, Locha, possibly Lynx when he came out on the second half of the patch. And yeah, like that's basically it. I mean, usually a very good partner for IMBIBITOR LUNAE would be Bronya, but Bronya's problem is that she can be skill point neutral at best. Skill point neutral means that she can use her E and use her basic attack in 1 cycle, but what you have to do for that, you have to heavily invest. She does have to have enough speed. She have to hit the thresholds. You still want to have her insane crit damage to boost it for IMBIBITOR LUNAE, and that does cost you a lot of investment. And also, not everyone has Bronya, of course. In that case, when I wanted to pull for him, I already had Bronya, which was good for me, which why I mostly want to use my units with Bronya, because Bronya is one of my favorite units. And that was a lot, again, a downside, because I don't really like having, like, I'm not a big fan of big damage per screenshot. I'm more a fan of having a good team, having good utilities, and everything should work as it should. Everything should work as it is supposed to be. That is like where I'm a fan of. So I wanted to badly fix the problem of getting the free skill points for him. So that's why I only had the option Palatinian Locha. And the only build unit that I had was Locha back in the day. And yeah, so that was like basically the problem that I have. And you don't really have a lot of flexibles building another team with him. It's basically you locked in that team because that's the team that makes him the most efficient. And the second problem that I did have was this. And his light cone, which is it here? Can I get it like real quick? It's a destruction 5-star light cone. Yeah, and his light cone that you possibly could pull for gives him 18% energy. No, 6% energy regeneration rate. 18% is too much. But it gives you 6% energy regeneration rate on S1. If you have one copy of it, it gives you 6% energy regeneration rate. And that is enough to get his ultimate back to a free cycle run. And that was the big thing that triggered me. Because, yeah, I think like in terms of damage, if you use like the free-to-play cone on the fall of an Ian, the damage between those two, this on S5, of course, because you can get it S5 free to play, and this on S1 is not that big. I think it's less than 10. It's even less than 10% damage difference, which is very, very good. If you have a less than 10% damage difference, but this was the main thing that triggered me at the end. There was no possible way to fix this without using the weapon. Because I cannot use an energy regeneration rope because you really want to maximize his damage because he's made to one-shot. So you have to use an attack percentage rope. And what you could fix was his skill point issue. And with units bringing alongside him. And also I wanted to like maximize that skill point efficiency just by maximizing the usage of his ultimate to get these 2 Squama Sector Sancta stacks. So I could use his E more often and more reliant. And yeah, that at the end made me not to summon for the unit. And that is also like overall the problem that I have with the unit. The unit is like in terms of damage, I still believe that IMBIBITOR LUNAE is the best unit in the game. Just in terms of damage. Like raw damage. Not talking about his kit. Just numbers rawly. But the problems that I already mentioned is the skill point fix. So because of the skill point fix, you're locked into this niche where you have to use certain units to get the skill points. And you have to use, okay, you don't have to use his weapon, but I think like the necessity of his light cone is much higher than on other units because for me personally, I wanted to fix that energy cost and skill point problem, and it would be fixed just by having the light cone. And yeah, that was in the end why I didn't pull for the unit. And that's also why I do believe that now, coming to the point, I think IMBIBITOR LUNAE is the worst unit between those two. Now, moving over to JING LIU, talking about. I think in terms of damage, she can hold up. She is like slightly worse than IMBIBITOR LUNAE. I think IMBIBITOR LUNAE still puts up higher numbers if you both build them like on the same tier. But the difference on this is, in my opinion, I think that energy rope is possible. I know there should be a couple of content creators that tell you want to use attack percentage badly, and I think you can do this. I think still attack percentage evolves into more damage, but what I personally think is that the diminishing return on attack percentage on JING LIU gets way earlier just because of the whole thing here. She gets like so much just from this mode because she heats up HP and stuff, and you will get a lot of damage, and that's why I don't think that attack percentage is that necessary. I already did tested it. Of course, you get a damage loss, but if you use your ult more often, you can guarantee yourself this stack more often, and if you can guarantee this stack more often, you will more often use less skill points. And like on average, I'd say JING LIU uses 0.5 skill points per cycle. And that is like the second best DPS in terms of skill point management. The only unit that is better, I think, is Blade. Or he's not necessarily better, but I think for Blade it is way more consistent, because Blade has his build. You just want to use his E, then you can use 3 turns his basic attack and use his ultimate, and then after that turn you should have enough skill points and use his E again, and you don't eat up like skill points. So he uses, like, I think he uses, of course, less than 0.5 skill points in a cycle, while Jing Liu uses around 0.5 skill points in a cycle, which is still better than every DPS. I think every DPS that is skill point efficient as Blade and as Jing Liu is already valuable. Doesn't matter how much damage that the unit is doing. Of course, you don't want to have a unit that does like D tier damage, but as long as the damage is all right, I think this makes a unit super valuable, especially if the unit is a DPS unit. I mean, like for a support unit, a sustain unit, I think this is a baseline requirement, in my opinion, that a defensive unit, a sustain unit, should mostly be skill point positive. And I think the best units are Fushuan and Locha. They are skill point positive. Maybe Fushuan is not as skill point positive as Locha, but because her kit is so insanely good, I think that this is still fair. But that's not the point of the video. We're not talking about sustain units. We're talking about Jing Liu, and we're talking about IMBIBITOR LUNAE. And the reason why I think Jing Liu is better is because number one was, of course, she can hold up with the damage. Of course, she's slightly worse, but that doesn't make her a tier worse, or that doesn't make her the worst unit, because now we have to look at the other things, because she's on the same level. Like, let's say IMBIBITOR LUNAE is here, so Jing Liu would be like here, all right? Just in terms of damage. But now if we look into the other categories, it's skill point efficiency. In skill point efficiency, Jing Liu would be here, and IMBIBITOR LUNAE would be here, because she uses 0.5 skill points in a cycle, while IMBIBITOR LUNAE uses 3 skill points in a cycle. If he has his ultimate, it's like just 1 skill point, because he gets 2 skill points. But like most of the time, he uses 3 skill points. Let's say on average, 3 plus 1, he uses 2 skill points at least in a cycle. Like, and that's like not the average, because he only gets to use his ultimate every 4 turns. If you have his ultimate if you have his light cone, it's every 3 turns. So, like on average, I would say it's still 3 skill points in a cycle. And that's like number one why Jing Liu is better. Because of that problem, of course, that evolves into another problem. I already mentioned, Dan Heng and IMBIBITOR LUNAE needs other units to support him to fix his skill point efficiency. Because Jing Liu doesn't have that problem, she's not locked into any other units. You, of course, want to pair her with units, especially that you already do use, because she is a kind of normal DPS still, though, even though she has that mechanic that she doesn't eat up that much skill points, but she still requires on all the other things that a normal DPS does do. And so that's why you will still want to pair her with a debuffer and a buffer and maybe a tank or a healer. And yeah, but the good thing here is you can mix around. You can pair her with Pella, you can pair her with Silverwolf, you can pair her with Bronya, you can even pair her with Asta if you want. I think, of course, Asta is a little bit worse than the other units that I already mentioned, but you can pair her with Fushuan, with Locha. She's like not locked into any of the other units. Her team comp is very flexible. Also, her builds are very flexible. For IMBIBITOR LUNAE, I think it's clear to say that you want to use this imaginary type set. For Jing Liu, you have a couple of possibilities. You don't have to only use the 4-piece ice set, even though this is the most standard one, but you can pair it 2-piece ice, 2-piece speed, 2-piece ice, 2-piece HP even. You can do 2-piece ice, 2-piece attack percentage even. You can do 4-piece quantum if you use it with Silverwolf even. So, like, possibilities overall with Jing Liu are endless. You can use her with different units, you can build different team comps, and you can use her with a different relic build. And also the next thing, the light cone that I already mentioned here. No, we have it here. We have her here, her light cone, and here. I honestly have to say, I think her light cone is one of the best light cones currently in the game. I think her light cone is way too busted. Because it increases her crit damage, and it increases her damage, and it ignores the defense, so it should increase her damage by quite a bit. But still saying that this is the best weapon, I'd say that she is still free-to-play friendly, because I think that On the Fall of an Ian is a very good option for that unit. Because the difference between IMBIBITOR LUNAE and Jing LIU is that she is not as reliant on her ultimate to get it back in 4 cycles. The only thing that you want to have is you always want to have, you're always trying to keep up that state, and worst case you want to use E. You started off with the technique, and worst case you want to use E, and the fight is even over after you got the second time in her, what is it called? The transmigration mode, or whatever it is. What is it? The spectral transmigration mode. I think the fight is over after you used it 2 times, most of the time. I think it doesn't come that often that you will use this mode 2 times. And that's why I think that this is still a very solid option. But in terms of damage, you will lose out, I think, on at least 10%. So this should do at least 10% more damage. I think it's even more than 15%. I think the damage difference is more than 15%, while the damage difference between these 2 weapons was under 10%. But the difference was, of course, this to get back his ultimate in 1 more cycle. And this, of course, evolves into more damage in less turns. Yeah. So in terms of her light cone, even though I think it is one of the best light cones in the game, I don't think that you have to pull for the light cone. I think Fall for an Ian is a very good free-to-play option, as long as you can get it to S5, which everyone should do, as long as you do Hertha weekly. Even if you did stop the game once, you will do it eventually. Yeah, and that's like mostly the things why I think Jing LIU is better. Jing LIU, so like to summarize everything, I think Jing LIU is more flexible. She can keep up with the damage. She has like very good alternatives in team comps. The only thing in general that both are not that good is that they don't have very good light cone alternatives. Like for both, it's basically On the Fall of an Ian. There are a couple of forces that you can use, like a Secret Vow, if you have it with a couple of super impositions. But like I'd say for IMBIBITOR LUNAE, you want to have his light cone more likely than you want to have it for Jing LIU, even though the light cone from Jing LIU is the better light cone overall. But I think like just because how the unit is, how the kit of the unit is built, I think that On the Fall of an Ian is like, if like both units have On the Fall of an Ian, I think it is more effective on Jing LIU because she will have less problems with that. Yeah, I think that's like enough. So my decision is I think Jing LIU is the better unit. She can hold up with damage. She has she uses less skill points, and she has more possibilities for team comps and usages, which IMBIBITOR LUNAE doesn't have. But he does a little bit more damage. So yeah, depends on what you do. In the end, it still matters which unit you like more. But that's my opinion. Everyone can have their own opinion. I just want to mention that again. Yeah, subscribe to the channel for more Honkai story content. Don't forget about the giveaway, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.